the live streaming. There we go. We'll just say good morning to everyone and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And we have a video from our musician of the day today. And let's see. Share sound. There we go.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let's sing God is my source. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Thank you.
And we thank Richard for that. Hello, Renetta. Nice to see you. And again, welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. Our online service begins with our practitioner of the day, Lissa Lazarro, leading us in an opening prayer. Good morning, Lissa.
Lissa, you're muted.
There it is. I know I was having trouble unmuting it. So I did. Well, all right.
You're good. We can hear you.
Okay, good. I just had funny things on my screen. Anyway, maybe we could take a couple of deep breaths and just sit in stillness for a second or two. I am so grateful that we have the opportunity to be together as a community, to connect with one another in a spiritual place, knowing that we are acknowledging the presence that is never absent, and that there's only one spirit that we call upon for everything in life, including our thoughts that come. Our thoughts come and move us into an emotional connection with whatever. And one of the things that people connect with frequently is creativity, which comes directly from spirit. And so I know that for each of us, we have that wonderful creative ability within. For some of us, it's maybe art or writing or one of those kinds of things. But for other people, there's creativity in how you parent. There's creativity in how you do anything in your life. how you do your job. Everyone has the possibility of that, because that's how spirit works through us. We call on spirit for the thought, with the thought for the guidance to allow what we need to come through. And so I know that each one of us is an individualized expression of that power. So that power is within each one of us. And I'm so grateful to know that that's the truth. And I'm so grateful that we have this service and that we have Reverend Michelle to each Sunday create and guide an atmosphere that assists us in our own personal and community growth in this, in consciousness and in spirit and in joy. And so I bless this service. I bless Reverend Michelle and everyone who participates and is in this service. And I'm grateful to release that and release this service into the law, knowing that it is done, knowing that it is blessed. And so we release together by saying, and so it is. And now I want to share with you poetry from E. Cummings. And E. Cummings, interestingly enough, was the son of a Unitarian minister. And he also was very attuned to Emerson. And so at any rate, I think that's reflected in this particular poem. And he had a unique, I say creative way of doing poetry, because he would capitalize according to his own whim. He rearranged words, he rearranged punctuation, but it's like, I've just he's my favorite poet because of that, because he does unusual things. And even with his name, he would put his name in small letters. And I find it interesting in this poem that for him, yes is spirit and God, as well as our response to it. And no is nothingness, and is the space without God. So for him. So at any rate, I want to share that poem, the poem with you, with the caveat that he is quirky. So anyway, I thank you, God, for this most amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees and blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today, and this is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and love and wings, and of the gay, great, happening, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any, lifted from the no of all nothing, human, merely being, doubt, unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, now the eyes of my eyes are opened. And to sort of clarify that third poem, that third section is his statement of how a human being can't possibly doubt the presence of God, and God for him is you, with the capital Y. So at any rate, I share this with you and ask that you just spend just a couple of moments considering the joy in this poem, in his expression of God and nature as us, and us as one. And so now we can come back together in our space. And together we can say April's affirmation. Whatever I need comes to me from the all good. Divine intelligence working through me always knows just what I need and supplies it when I need it. I receive my good daily as I go along the path of life. My birthright is freedom, happiness, and joy. And so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was beautiful. Really appreciate it. Oh, I see we had a few people join us while we were praying, and welcome. So, as I said earlier, Richard James, our regular musician for today, wasn't able to come, and he did send me some videos for special music, but I was listening to my inner voice, which of course is the topic for today. And I got this niggle to share Karen Drucker's song, A Call to Something More, because that's really what we're talking about this month as we're moving into a month focused on creativity. So I am going to share her YouTube video for this song, just because it fits so well with what we're doing this morning and all month really. So I hope you can hear this well, and here we go. Thank you, Karen.
There's been a storm brewing inside of me, clouds moving around my heart. Something's changing that I can't see. I'm stuck in what I know is safe, not yet where I'm supposed to be. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never felt before. I feel the call of something more. I feel the call, it's asking, what am I here for? 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 They say that pain pushes till the vision pulls. Feels like my safety nets have fallen down. I wish I had a map of where to go, but I've got this feeling in my soul. When I get there I will know, and I feel the call of something more. I feel the call of something I've never done before. I feel the call of something more. And I feel the call, and it's asking, what am I here for? 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 wanna make a move right now, though I don't know when or how. But when I trust and know the truth, my heart will point the way. There is more of me to share, so today I do declare I will take that step in faith and let my light shine.
All right, thank you, Karen, wherever you are. That's exactly what I wanted to convey today, is that call to something more. And that's what we're going to be speaking to this morning. I see a couple of people popped on. So glad you're here. Welcome. And good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living's online Sunday service. I have to say that line every Sunday. I think it's a law. And as we begin a new month, we have a new theme. And April's theme, as Lissa told us, and I think I said during the meditation, is creativity. And isn't it a great theme to follow up last month's theme of play? You know, I spoke a bit last week about how play can open the door to creativity and innovation, because much of play takes place in the world of imagination, you know, but it's also grounded in physical reality. So it's kind of a mix of what is already known with what is unknown, and what is possible kind of opens the door. You know, we play games in the real world. We have rules and objectives, but when we play them, we use our imaginations to move us into that unknown or what is yet to be. And that's what makes play fun and enjoyable and expansive. It opens the door for us into creativity. I love that about play. So it just seemed like a natural progression to go from play to creativity. You know, the online dictionary, I love words. I always like to look them up and see what they mean and where they came from. The online dictionary says that creativity, I wrote it down because I wanted to get it right. Creativity is the ability to transcend. Oh, I love this. It's very metaphysical. See if you think so. The ability to transcend traditional ideas, rules, patterns, relationships, or the like, and to create meaningful new ideas, forms, methods, interpretations, etc. It describes creativity as originality and progressiveness and imagination. It sounds very science mind to me. Usually we think of creativity as being in the realm of artists. I think Lissa actually mentioned this earlier, artists and musicians and writers and people that create some sort of original artistic expression. But in science of mind, we see life itself as a form of artistry. We teach that we co-create our very lives with the divine presence, which makes every one of us an artist and a creator of our own lives. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote, I have lots of Holmes quotes today for some reason. When we use our creative imagination in strong faith, very important part, it will create for us out of the one substance, whatever we form in thought. In this way, mankind becomes co-creator with God. In this way, we are the artists of our own lives. We're co-creating with this divine substance all the time. And play moves us into that state of artistry. It acknowledges what is, as I said, and at the same time opens us up to the originality available to us and divine imagination. And it puts us, in that creative flow that we're always talking about, getting into the flow, into the move. It's easy and effortless. It's an expression of divine life. And that's what real creativity is. It's an act of expression. It's not necessarily producing a product or a performance, but expressing who we are. Creativity is it's a willingness to let go of what we think we know, yesterday's thoughts, ideas, and patterns, and to move into, to become willing and open to whatever we've never thought of before. Creativity is a willingness to open to that something, as Karen Drucker called that call to something more. That's something that's already within divine mind, within the mind of God, that we've just never thought of before. And to be willing to bring that something new, that something fresh into the world of form. That's why we're here. From a science of mind perspective, creativity is opening ourselves to the influx of new ideas and simply to become the avenue for their expression. I love that idea of becoming the conduit of the avenue for divine expression. We tap into divine ideas and we participate with divine law and we demonstrate something new into our lives. And I have another Ernest Holmes quote. Told you I had a lot of them today. When we use our creative imagination, I read that one. Sorry. The mind must, and this is so important, the mind must conceive before the creative energy can produce. We must supply the avenue through which it can work. It is ready and willing. It is its nature to spring into being through our thought and our action. I love that idea. We're the conduits through which, the avenue through which expression happens. And in Science of Mind, we teach that we're not just a part of the power and the presence that we call God, Spirit, the all that is, whatever name you like to call it, but we are one with it. And if we live and move and have our being in God, then God must live and move and have its being in us. And when we open to the creative ideas within divine mind, then creative law has to bring them into our experience and form, because that's the way that it works. Whatever we put our attention on, our awareness on, our feeling and our focus on will demonstrate in our lives. I've seen it over and over again, and I'm going to go out on a limb and suppose that you did as well. Ernest Holmes told us that we don't create laws and principles, but we make use of them. I did not create the electricity that runs through the wires in my house, but I make good use of that law. And I love I love the way that the metaphysical teacher Eric Butterworth, who we talk about all the time, wrote Spiritual Economics. He put it this way. He said, I love this line. Demonstration is not working magic. It's not working miracles. It's not the something out of nothing kind of process. It's releasing your imprisoned splendor. Do you love that? It's releasing your imprisoned splendor. That which you desire is already within you. You know, we don't create something out of nothing. We simply become avenues for the expression for what already exists within divine mind, within that field of potential or that infinite field of possibility, and what wants to demonstrate through us. And sometimes things come up that we can't or may not want to believe are actually meant for us. Has that ever happened to you? I know before I went into ministerial school, I kept getting these flashes that I was supposed to become a minister. And I just kind of kept flipping them off and brushing them off. And oh, that's impossible. I don't have the time or the money or the means to become a minister. That's crazy. But, you know, those flashes and those nudges didn't stop until I finally listened. And when I did listen, everything just kind of opened up, you know, and it just kind of fell into place. The way forward, in my experience, always makes itself known when it is the right thing, when it is our call, that call to something more that Karen Drucker was talking about. And then I just became an avenue to express the idea that was already within the mind of God, was already within divine mind. I read this story about Nobel laureate and physicist, Richard Feynman. And he said one time that when he was presented through his imagination with this radical new idea about subatomic particles, and he said in his head, he said, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard." And before he could even finish his sentence, he said that he knew it was probably true. You know, and then that's what happens when we tap into new ideas, new inspirations within divine mind. Things come up that might be radically different from anything we've ever thought of before, you know, things we might not even think are possible. But honestly, we don't know what we don't know. That's why we stay open to what comes up. Holmes told us to be open at the top. And I believe that we can usually intuitively feel it if we're on the right track and if an idea is really meant for us. And I found that it's kind of a matter of developing that intuitive voice, the ability to actually hear it, and learning to discern if it feels right to me. And then if it does, then I can focus on it and make it my own. And when I do that, things usually unfold pretty naturally. Not that there aren't challenges, there's always challenges, but the way forward usually seems to present itself so that we can become avenues for expression for this idea that already exists in divine mind and is looking for an avenue of expression. You know, and I have to admit that there are still times when I struggle with listening fully to that intuitive voice. You know, I might feel kind of a pull towards something, and then I'll question. You know, and I was saying this during the meditation. You know, is that really my inner intuitive guidance, that wisdom of spirit, or is that just some crazy thought that popped into my head? But Holmes and Science of Mind teaches that we can train ourselves to discern that inner voice. And I truly believe that we can. And the better we get at listening and feeling the truth of our own inner voice, the better we become at being avenues of expression through which the good of the all good, of the divine, is expressing itself in the world. You know, Holmes told us to be open and to be receptive to the truth. Actually, he said, let the inner ear listen to the voice of truth that is always speaking. You know, there is not a time when we're disconnected to that inner voice. We might not be listening to it, but it is always there. You know, if you're human, and I'm pretty sure that most of you are, then I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. I bet you know exactly what that inner voice sounds like and feels like. Just think of all the times that you've had a hunch about something, or some intuitive hit bumping you, or a gut feeling that rings true, an insight to follow. I bet you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a feeling that's connected to a thought that kind of comes up from deep inside of us. And the feeling and the thought have this energy that we can actually sense. It doesn't come from our head. And sometimes we might even be aware of the feeling way before we even get the thought. It kind of bubbles up from within us. Holmes said that this kind of intuitive knowing was spirit knowing itself. Well, of course, that's who we are. It's speaking to us. It's getting our attention. We are spirit knowing itself. Because, as we said, if we live, move, and have our being in God, then God must live, move, and have its being in us. It can't be any other way. Oneness is oneness. If we are one, then we are going to feel and live that presence of the divine. And through the years, and this is probably true for you as well, I found that my inner voice has been very important to me for several reasons. First, I've learned that my inner voice speaks to me from the truest part of myself, from what we often call the authentic self or the divine self. It speaks from that part of me that's connected to universal truth and universal wisdom. And it keeps me from making decisions solely based on what's going on in the outside world. It keeps me from making decisions only from above the neck thinking. And quite frankly, it has, through the years, emboldened me to make some very consequential decisions and major changes in my life. And even if I had questioned them in the beginning, as we should, in hindsight, they certainly moved me in the right direction. My inner voice has guided me to become a teacher, a minister, to leave unhealthy relationships, to make certain job choices, to move to another state, big decisions that have contributed greatly to my life and to my experience and to my good. And the more I've listened to that inner voice, to my inner voice, the more I've learned to trust it. I'm still working on the trust piece because that isn't something that comes very naturally to me. I always want to feel like I'm in control, and I would love to hear some instances where all of you have listened to your inner voice and how that's changed your life. Maybe we can talk about that in the social time afterwards. Trusting our inner voice is something that we truly can develop the skill to do. And it comes, as I said, from deep within us. And as we focus and we practice, here's the thing, I found that the deeper my faith and my connection to God, Spirit, the all that is, the divine presence is, the stronger that connection, the stronger my foundation in unity with that presence, the more I'm able to trust life and the guidance of my inner voice. Both faith and trust are certainly what are strengthened through my daily spiritual practice, through meditation, through my prayer work, through sacred service, and all the things that I do as spiritual practice. And both faith and trust are truly what support me in saying yes, which is really the talk today, is say yes to the yes. They support me in saying yes to what I intuitively know is true for me. The more connected I feel, the easier it is, the trust is built and the faith is built to be able to say yes to becoming a teacher and a minister and all the other things that I've been called to do. And I'm sure that is true for you as well. I've talked about Pam Grout's book before. She's a couple of them, but I love Pam Grout's writing because she's so whimsical and humorous. And she wrote a book called E Squared, and then she has E Cubed and Thank and Grow Rich, I think. She's got some great stuff, but she calls our inner voice in her book, E Squared, the Dear Abby Principle. I love that. She writes that the Dear Abby principle is always available and that there's never a time when we can't get that inner assistance. She says that the conscious mind is designed for only two things: to identify problems and to formulate goals. But the solutions are in the realm of the inner intuitive mind. They come from that well of divine wisdom that's already within us. And it's here that we can tap into the brilliance of divine wisdom. Grout teases that we often put our inner voice on the no call list. Have you ever put your intuitive wisdom on the no call list because you just don't want to hear it right now? Like when I was called to ministry, it was like, I don't have time for this. I am not listening. We put our inner voice on the no call list. I thought that was pretty funny. So let's see. I was going to talk about how Grout offers experiments in her book. If you've ever read her book, if you're familiar with her work at all, you know that what she does, she gives these practical spiritual experiments. She does them complete with hypothesis and data collecting and results. And in her Dear Abby Principle experiment, she invites us to test the theory that our connection to, she calls it the field, the infinite field of potential, but we can call it anything we want. We can call it God, spirit, infinite mind, whatever suits you. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing anyway. But the theory is that our connection to the field provides accurate and unlimited guidance. And I certainly believe that, but let's test it. Why not? Why shouldn't we test it? I love that. Oh yeah, I wanted to share another quote with her book because it's so funny. And this is just kind of an example of the kind of humor that is laced throughout all of her books. But she has this quote in her book from a guy named D. Patrick Miller. And the quote is, I have no idea what the source of my inner voice is. I certainly not believe that it is the voice of Jesus Christ or a dead ancestor with a quavery Irish brogue or a high-ranking, let's see, how do Pleiadian, it's an alien, sending me psychic data packages from a spaceship, although that last notion would be especially fun. I love that quote. She just kind of has that kind of humor. So in her book, she gives the time requirement for this particular experiment, the Dear Abby Principle, of 48 hours. So, why not? Let's do it together. Let's start today with today's date. Today's Sunday, April 3rd at around 11 o'clock. And we'll give ourselves 48 hours. We'll give ourselves till Tuesday, April 5th at around 11 o'clock. And the hypothesis is that if we ask for guidance, we will get a clear answer to a yes or no question. And then she invites us to formulate a yes or no question. So your experiment is that you are going to ask your inner guidance, the Dear Abby of your soul, a yes or no question, and then wait for it. She writes something funny. She says, okay, inner guidance, I need to know the answer to this question. You've got 48 hours, make it snappy. She's so funny. And I really want to know what happens. I want to know the results of your experiments, and I'm going to do it myself. So keep me posted. Some of you know that I'm going to go to Florida next week to visit with my sister, but pop me a text or an email and let me know what your results are. You can find my contact information on our website, or it's also in the e-newsletter down at the bottom. Just let me know what comes up for you. I would really like to know. So there's one more thing I'd like to talk about this morning before we wind this up. But last Tuesday at our evening gathering, Lissa Lazarro, who is our practitioner of the day, she was telling a story about an experience, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this. I'm sure you don't. That she went to a you pick daffodil fields. I guess you have to go there and you don't pick the bulbs, but you can pick the daffodils, and you go out and then you pay for the daffodils after you've picked them. And it sounded like such a lovely time. And it reminded me of a story that I had heard years ago. It's called the Daffodil Principle. You might have heard it. It's a true story. And it's about a woman who lives up near Lake Arrowhead. And she planted daffodil bulbs over a period of about 64 years. And she started in 1958. And she planted one bulb at a time. And today there are over 50,000 bulbs. It takes up over 5 acres of land of these daffodil bulbs, all in bloom. And the story is inspirational because it demonstrates how one small act after another can change the world in such a dramatic way, that everything we do contributes to the whole of creation, to the collective activity of humanity, of life. But it also got me to thinking about the power of the science of mind philosophy that teaches how to use creative law. Yes, as human beings, we can change the world by planting one bulb at a time in physical form. And over decades and decades, we will see change. We will produce dramatic change. But here's the thing, as metaphysicians, we're empowered to plant in a different kind of soil. You know, we're empowered to plant in the fertile, creative soil of law. And while physical form can change physical form, it takes a long time, but it takes much less time for energy, for the idea, for law to change physical form, for the energy of our thought and feeling and conviction to change and create form. We know that we're empowered by where we put our attention and what we focus on, where we plant our seeds to produce demonstration in our lives in far less time than 64 years. And this, I think, is the brilliance of our philosophy and the power of our philosophy. And of course, that's now being validated through quantum physics and scientific discovery, is that we do affect form by where we put our consciousness, that we are the observer, and where we lay our consciousness creates form. So this brings me to the very last thing I want to talk about, and it's the Unexpected Income Club. I think we're calling it a fundraiser. If you get the e-newsletter, you probably saw that this month, the month of April, we're doing something called the Unexpected Income Fundraiser. But honestly, it's more like a spiritual practice. That's how I'm looking at it. It's a way to train ourselves to put our attention, our awareness on the abundance that flows into our lives as prosperity. Things that we might normally take for granted, you know, things that show up for us that we don't even expect. You know, it might be as simple as someone buying us a cup of coffee, or it might be as big as inheriting a car. That's what happened to one woman in Grants Pass when I did the Unexpected Income Club there. She inherited a car and she tithes on it too. So here's the thing. Watching our unexpected income does a couple of things. As I said, it draws our awareness to the abundant and prosperous life that we're already living. And it also keeps that cycle going, because whatever our unexpected, whatever form it comes in, we tithe back on it. So if you get a cup of coffee, you're going to tithe 20 cents. But if you get a car, it's a different matter. But honestly, it's not the amount. It's about continuing the cycle. It's about participating with giving and receiving in that cycle of abundance. It's about acknowledging the prosperity that we already have in our life, that's already here. It's about being grateful for it and giving back. And that's how we expand and increase. What's the saying? What we appreciate appreciates. So I invite you to keep track of those small little gifts that you received this month and tithe 10% back to the center, or wherever your spiritual food comes from, your spiritual nourishment. You know, I think you'll be amazed at the way it expands your abundance consciousness, and it will, because it has no choice, demonstrate as more prosperity in your life. What is the saying? Where your energy goes, Oh, I'm getting it wrong. I'll remember it later. So this week, I invite you to do a couple of things. To do the Dear Abby experiment. I can even send you the lab report sheet that she has in her life. I copied it and scanned it. So you want that, I can send it. And also to become aware of how prosperous you already are. Keep a list of all the things that come your way that make your life prosperous, and then tithe back to your spiritual center to keep the cycle going, and to do it in gratitude and a sense of fullness of life. And please remember, as you move through your week, to create every day and to celebrate life in all of its abundance and all of its wonder and all of its marvelous ways of being. So let's pray. Let's end with a prayer today. Taking a nice deep breath in. Let's know, let's feel, let's be present in the all that is, God's Spirit. Oh, the juicy creative flow of life itself. And we are a part of it. We live, move, and have our being in it, and it lives, moves, and has its being in us. And as we embody, as we feel this oneness, I speak my word for and about each and every person that is present here on this call, and each and every person that is not, that there is a shift in consciousness, an opening, an ease, a flow, a new avenue for expression of the good that is available in God, of the good that already exists, of the easy contentment and beautiful flow of life moving through us in ways that we have never thought of before. That's something new, that fresh new way of living life specifically for us. And as we step into our good, we give permission and allow and share our good and the idea of good with everyone in the atmosphere of our being. So I just sit in gratitude for this. I say thank you, thank you, thank you to the all that is for allowing us to participate with its natural laws, with its ideas, its life, its bigness, its boldness. I sit in gratitude for this. I know all is well. And as we relax in this, I let it go, and we signify our agreement by saying together, and so it is. And so it is. Oh. When I first started the talk, I was feeling kind of cold, and now I'm like sweating. I'm hot. I got the energy going, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. And let's see, I'm trying to remember who's doing Leslie. Thank you, Leslie.
Now is the time for our sacred giving, that time where we can share part of the prosperity that we are having in our lives with the center. And we know that sharing goes to perpetuate the science of mind teachings that we teach, and also all of the activities that take place in this center. And we have a couple of ways of giving. You can do it through Venmo, which is online, and you see the information on your screen there on how to do that. And there is no fee that is taken out of your donation with that. All of that money goes directly to our center bank account. Or if you choose to write a check, you can send that to our assistant treasurer, Jim Massipas, and he has the mailing address for that in the chat area. So now let us all join together as we do our sacred affirmation, giving affirmation. I recognize that all supply flows from the divine givingness of spirit. My gift is a continuation of this divine flow. I give and receive from this infinite supply. I give in faith, in love, and in joy, and it flows back to me in kind, and so it is. And now we are ready for our announcements.
I remembered 2 times in a row to unmute. Yay!
Good for you.
Well, Monday evening is our prayer group from 6 to 6:20. And we come together in silent prayer for our One Heart, One Mind Center. And Ernest Holmes says, there's a vitality in our communication with the infinite, which is productive of the highest good. And I added, that vitality is heightened by praying together. It's a really nice evening activity. The Tuesday evening Zoom meeting will be led by practitioner Raylene Clark. It's from 6 to 7. And Raylene will be leading a discussion on what unexpected income means for you and how it can positively impact your life. And she has some really good examples and stories of it. So that'll be a fun evening. Don't forget also that we have a kindness fund. So if you come across someone who needs some kindness, like I'm thinking maybe Joy, you can make sure that they get something lovely like some flowers or a book or whatever's appropriate. And you can read about that in our newsletter, or you can also contact Raylene for that. And all of the links for our activities are in the newsletter. So I just wanted to remind you of that. And then one last reminder is on Wednesday, April 27th, we will have Judy Hirsch giving a presentation on heart math. And she's a heart math coach. And heart math meditation is a heart-focused breathing meditation that can help you quickly change from feeling stressed to feeling calm. It's a science, it is science-based and it's used worldwide. It can increase your resilience and ability to regulate emotions. We can all use that at some point in time. Please put it on your calendar and invite a friend or two to join you on it. And that's it.
Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
let's see, Leslie, you want to do the benediction and then I'll play Richard's closing song video?
Sure. Okay. Please join me in consciousness as we end today's service, knowing how blessed we are to be part of this service today, and knowing that each morning that we wake up, we are awakening to a gift from God that's going to be full of excitement and newness and communication with others, and a further experience of that listening to that great voice that is always with us and speaking to us and lets us know the right path that we take. And each evening, as we prepare to go to sleep, we remember those times when we were able to see the gorgeous sunsets as the sun came from light and moved to darkness, and the gorgeous colors of the yellow and the oranges and the reds, and the emotion that it invoked with us, and the gratitude that happened, that gratitude of thankfulness for being able to live in such a beautiful time with all of its wonders and with that higher power always looking over us. We are grateful for all of this, and we just open our hearts to that love and good of God to express through us. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you so much. And I wanted to just say hello to Marianne and Judy, who are visiting us today. I see you on there. I want to acknowledge your presence. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to play Richard's closing song. And it's, I asked him to do this one because it really talks about that voice, that something special is within every one of us. And it's a song that we we know oh so well. I'm trying to move my little thing out of the way here so I can get it going. And here's Richard.
It's in every one of us. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us to be free. Find your heart, open your eyes and see. We can all know everything just by knowing it's to be. It's in every one of us, you and me. Blessings.
Oh, that Richard. Well, this has been a very intimate group, but you know, I